Hello friends, welcome back to this video session on Java programming fundamentals. In this video we'll talk about polymorphism. So polymorphism is an ability of an object to take many forms. Ability of an object to take many forms. In other words, object behaves differently on different actions. So we give this same name and we perform different actions. So one name in many forms. Okay, so this will discuss with different types of polymorphism. So there are two types of polymorphism. So first one is compile time polymorphism. Compile time and runtime polymorphism. So this compile time polymorphism is also called as static polymorphism, and this is also called as dynamic polymorphism. This is achieved using method overloading. This is achieved using method overriding. So let us discuss method overloading. So method overloading is having the same name to a method inside a class with a different parameter list. So if I have a class sample, and then I'm going to write two methods, public void show. This is one method, a method. I can write one more method with the same name, but I need to give a different parameter list. So you can see one name has many forms. So if I call show without parameter, this action is going to take place, and if I call a show method with some integer parameter, this method will be executed. So this is called method overloading, and this is achieved using method overloading, which is compile time polymorphism, also called as static polymorphism, and method overriding is implementation of runtime polymorphism. So when I have this method and these two methods into that sample class having different argument list, how do I invoke that? So for example, I create the object of sample. Sample is equal to new sample here, and then if I call sample.show without any argument, calls first method, because compiler tries to match the argument list. So there is no argument list here, so we'll try to see if there is any show method in the sample class which doesn't accept any parameter. So if it is, then it is going to this particular method. And if I call a method with some parameter integer value, calls second method. Now again compiler tries to find a method which accepts an integer. This method will be bind to that method call, and this method gets executed. So method overloading depends on the list of parameters. So if I have another method public void show with float data, still this is accepted. Still this will be accepted because the type is different. As long as your type is different or the number of arguments are different, your method overloading is successful. So public void show integer data comma float value. So this is another method. So these are the examples of method overloading. Now if I write like this, public void demo is one method and public void public int demo. So there are two methods I'm writing into a class, one with void return type and the other method with integer return type. this is not method overloading. It's not method overloading. Method overloading only needs the parameter list different or number of arguments. In the sequence, there should be a change. So this is not method overloading. That return type is not going to make any change in your method. So only changing the return type, it will not be your method overloading. That is about method overloading. Let us talk about method overriding. So method overriding. So writing the same method into subclass, same method from superclass into subclass is method overriding. Alright, so let us say, for example, uh, let us say I have a class called doctor, class doctor, and there is a method I'm going to write which is public void treat patient, and this system.out.println, this doctor provides basic treatment. This doctor provides basic treatment. And there is a subclass surgeon extends doctor, and then it doesn't override that method. It simply says that this surgeon is a doctor, and then I create an object of surgeon. Surgeon is equal to new surgeon, and then surgeon dot treat patient. All right. So here output will be basic treatment, and if I create one more class, say dentist extends doctor, and again here it doesn't override that method, so I'll create an object of dentist, and say dentist dot treat patient. So here also we are going to get the output as basic treatment because of inheritance. That method gets inherited into these two classes and we get the same output. Correct? So there will not be any compilation error, but there is a problem with the design. So if we are calling a surgeon, it must provide a different treatment than just a doctor. If it is a dentist, it must provide a different treatment than just the doctor. So we have to change the functionality of this treat patient method into this subclass. So changing the functionality of a method from superclass into subclass is called method overriding. Alright, so here I must override this method. So I'll just override it here, and then I'll change the treatment. So here I'll say surgeon's treatment. And here also I will override. I need to just simply rewrite that method into subclass and change the functionality. Dentist's treatment. So now in this case output will be surgeon's treatment, and here it will be dentist's treatment because it will call the method onto the object. So I'm creating, sorry, here it must be a dentist, not doctor. Must be dentist. So dentist equal to new dentist. So here if I say dentist, I'm creating object of dentist, so it will now invoke the method on this dentist class object, and this method will be invoked. And here when I create the surgeon object's treat patient method will be called, which prints surgeon's treatment. So that is method overriding and dynamic polymorphism. So in this case I can also create an object of I can also create a reference variable of superclass and I can assign the subclass object to it. Okay, so I'm creating the superclass reference and putting the subclass object into it, and then I'm going to create one more. Doctor2 is equal to new dentist. Again, I'm creating the reference of superclass and putting the subclass object under. That is possible in Java, but the other way is not possible. So like earlier I did dentist is equal to new doctor. That is not allowed in Java. So it will throw the error first, and then if you typecast it to dentist, then it will stop giving the compilation error, but will give the runtime error. Class cast exception will be thrown when you write it that way. Right. So now if I try to call this method doctor1 dot treat patient, so at compilation time method will be checked into doctor class because the reference is of doctor class, but at runtime method will be called on surgeon object because that reference is holding that reference variable is holding the object of surgeon class. Here also at the time of compilation doctor2 dot treat patient, here also at the time of compilation this patient method will be searched in the doctor class because this doctor2 is a reference of doctor class. If it is not present there, it will show compilation error. And at the time of calling it at runtime, this treat patient method will be called on to new dentist object. So this is called DMD, that is dynamic method dispatch. So dynamically methods are dispatched. So this is about runtime polymorphism and compilation time polymorphism. So the demo we'll see in the next video. So thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next video.